In the 80s, they conquered the deadly sands of Dakar and were considered the kings of the highways of Eastern Europe. Their trucks were bought by the tens of thousands from the Soviet Union to China. But the biggest paradox is that millions of long-haul truckers adored these machines, knowing them under a completely different brand. Today, instead of the assembly lines of this automotive giant, there are ordinary shopping malls, and its name is remembered only by the oldest fans. This is the story of the rise and painful fall of a Liberec automobile plant, or simply LIAZ. Get comfortable and subscribe to the channel. Today, we'll find out why, for over 20 years, the Czech giant produced vehicles with the Skoda logo, how LIAZ trucks made competitors nervous on African off-road terrain, and why a revolutionary model with an aluminum cab and an American heart, which was supposed to save the company, drove the final nail into its coffin. And our story starts back in 1951. That was when the Czechoslovakian government decided to completely restructure automobile production. Based on small, scattered enterprises around Liberec, they were to create a single automotive conglomerate called the Liberec Automobile Plant, or LIAZ for short. It was to be subordinated to the restored Skoda enterprise and produce its trucks. Meanwhile, production in Mladá Boleslav was focused exclusively on passenger cars. The first truck to be assembled at the LIAZ plant in Mnichovo Hradište was the conventional cab Skoda 706 model with a payload capacity of 7 tons. It was a modernization of the company's pre-war truck. LIAZ received all the documentation and blueprints for this model from the Avia engineering plant. Immediately after the Second World War, it began assembling Skoda trucks, but in the early 50s, it returned to its original specialization in aircraft manufacturing. The LIAZ Association included about a dozen plants of various specializations, from assembly to engine manufacturing and casting. This allowed for the establishment of a fully closed production cycle. In 1953, LIAZ became a separate production unit. The plant was no longer subordinate to the Skoda enterprise, yet it continued to produce trucks under that brand, designed by engineers from Mladá Boleslav. In 1957, the Liberec plant switched to producing cab-over trucks of the Skoda 706 RT models. They became particularly in demand after the introduction of European restrictions on the total length of road trains in the mid-50s. The RT series cab-over truck received a large and modern cabin for that time. It featured panoramic glazing and a spacious, comfortable sleeping berth. In fact, with the exception of a few vertical pillars, the roof rested on continuous glass. This gave the driver excellent 360-degree visibility. The cab-over Skoda was equipped with a new diesel engine with direct fuel injection, producing 160 horsepower. The Skoda RT was a versatile machine. It was built as flatbed trucks, dump trucks, tractor units, and chassis for superstructures. The payload capacity of the single vehicle was 7.5 tons. The truck could also tow an 8-ton trailer. The tractor unit operated as part of a road train with a semi-trailer with a payload capacity of 14 tons. The Skoda 706 RT achieved success not only in Czechoslovakia, but also in many countries of the Eastern Bloc. Its production was established in Bulgaria under the name LAZ Madara, as well as in China under the Huanghe brand. Its immense popularity allowed the RT family to remain on the assembly line until 1985. Over 28 years, 150,000 of these trucks rolled out of the factory gates. These vehicles were of particular importance to the Soviet Union, where they first appeared in 1961. These were RTTN tractor units with single-axle refrigerated semi-trailers that arrived for testing. Subsequently, the refrigerated trailer became the primary type of semi-trailer for the Czech tractor units. Despite successful testing, imports to the USSR did not begin immediately. In the early 60s, the Soviet Union's needs were met by Austrian OF vehicles with Tranberg semi-trailers and Hungarian Czepel D450N trucks. And it was only in 1964 that the first purchases of Czech trucks took place. With each passing year, the number of these vehicles on Soviet roads only continued to grow. These were mainly tractor units with single-axle Orlik refrigerated semi-trailers. They were used for transporting meat, fish, and fruit on interregional routes. In the late 60s, these trucks joined the fleet of the International Transport Administration, Savtransavto. For Soviet long-haul truckers, the Czech Skoda was in a league of its own. In terms of reliability, performance, or comfort, they were head and shoulders above the MAZ 500 or the Georgian Kolkhy trucks. The vehicle's appearance in movies also contributed to its popularity. The vehicle shone especially brightly in the 1979 drama The Chase. In general, the 706 Skoda trucks outlived the USSR and could be seen on the roads of many post-Soviet states until the end of the 90s. In 1966, production began for the new Skoda 706 MT trucks with a new 180 horsepower M630 engine. And starting in 1969, the MT4 and MT5 modifications received even more powerful 210 horsepower M634 diesel engines. It worked in tandem with a new 5-speed manual transmission and a 2-stage range gearbox. The cab underwent a slight restyling of the front end. The MT trucks had a payload capacity of up to 10 tons, and the maximum speed increased to 75 kilometers per hour. The family was produced in various versions: dump trucks, tractor units, and agricultural chassis. In 1973, a day cab was developed for short routes. The modernized MT series proved to be more durable than the RT and remained in production until 1988, with a total of 100,000 units produced. A significant event for the company took place in 1974. That was when the factory produced its first truck under its own brand, the LIAZ 100. This was an entirely new generation created to meet high standards for long-haul transport. The LIAZ 100 received a modern rectangular cab with improved ergonomics. The increased space allowed for the inclusion of full-size sleeping berths. It featured a higher ceiling, effective soundproofing, and powerful heating. The engine tunnel now housed improved MS634 naturally aspirated diesel engines. With a displacement of 11.9 liters, they produced 201 horsepower. The engines were installed at a slight incline to save space. The gross weight of the solo vehicle ranged from 16 to 19 tons and up to 42 tons as part of a tractor-trailer combination. The LIAZ 100 was produced as a tractor unit in a flatbed truck with various wheel configurations. The two-axle dump trucks received their own model designations, LIAZ 150 and LIAZ 151. For fire trucks, the LIAZ 101 chassis was produced, which was unified with the Karosa 700 series buses. An all-wheel drive LIAZ 111 chassis was created for garbage trucks. Based on it, they even built a LIAZ Africa Bus passenger bus for harsh conditions. Under pressure from competition from Volvo, Mercedes, and Scania, in 1984, the Czechs released the updated LIAZ 110 model. It finally received a tilting cab with its own spring suspension and hydraulic shock absorbers. New turbo diesel engines with power ranging from 270 to 330 horsepower appeared, along with synchronized Praga gearboxes with 9 and 10 speeds. This allowed the tractor units to confidently maintain a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. The rear air suspension significantly improved the ride smoothness. Thanks to this, the LIAZ 100 and 110 became export hits. They were purchased in large quantities by the USSR for Savtransavto. Sales went to the Middle East, Africa, and South America, as well as to Poland, Hungary, and East Germany. LIAZ also made a name for themselves in motorsports. In 1985, two prepared LIAZ 155D trucks became the first representatives from Eastern Europe at the Paris-Dakar Rally Marathon. Jerry Moskall's crew took 13th place in the overall truck standings, a significant achievement for a debutante. The racing modifications had a mass of over 10 tons, engines boosted to 360 horsepower, safety roll cages, and enlarged fuel tanks. That same year, the LIAZ 100 triumphed at the Rally Marathon in Egypt. In 1987, the modernized LIAZ 111 model won one of the Dakar stages and took third place overall. LIAZ's successes forced the Tatra company to urgently prepare its iconic Model 815. This sparked a spectacular multi-year rivalry between the two Czech giants on the African off-road terrain. Modernized LIAZs continued to compete in the Dakar even after the main factory closed, thanks to the efforts of private teams like Masick Racing. The times have changed. The Velvet Revolution and the collapse of a socialist bloc brought democratization and a transition to a free market. The successes of the planned economy gave way to stagnation. LIAZ now had to compete directly with more advanced Western trucks. To stay afloat, the LIAZ 110 was deeply modernized. Starting in 1989, the vehicles received high cabs, electric mirrors and windows, comfortable seats, and refrigerators. For better performance, imported 16-speed ZF transmissions and ABS brakes were added. In 1991, the LIAZ 200 generation was released. The old 100 series platform was improved. The engine was now mounted vertically, the cab was raised by 4 centimeters, and soundproofing was significantly enhanced. However, production of the 200 series ended as early as 1996. Only 484 vehicles were assembled, a significant portion of which went to arm the Indonesian Marine Corps. From 1993, the 300 series became the flagship. It received significant changes in design and technical aspects. An aerodynamic package appeared along with a large selection of cabs, from day cabs to long-haul versions with 2 sleeper bunks. The 300 series became the most versatile. 27 models of various configurations, from municipal vehicles to 42-ton road trains with Bosch engines. But these trucks still couldn't make the company profitable. The reason was drastic corporate changes. In 1992, during voucher privatization, the once unified conglomerate split into separate legal entities. The closed-loop production cycle was destroyed. In the face of fierce competition and the lack of a single owner, no one wanted to invest in modernization. Production was shrinking and debts were growing. LIAZ was temporarily saved from bankruptcy by the company Skoda Pilsen, which bought a controlling stake. In 1996, designers developed the revolutionary Skoda LIAZ 400 Xena model. It featured an aluminum plastic cab that was completely corrosion-resistant, 470 horsepower Detroit diesel engines, Rockwell axles, and Eaton transmissions. Despite the sensation it caused at the Hanover exhibition, the vehicle failed in the market. Its production cost, due to the imported components, was on par with the prices of Volvo or Scania. Hauliers were afraid to buy trucks from a company that was constantly cutting back on service centers abroad. For cross-border transport, this meant the threat of long downtimes in case of breakdowns. The financial crisis of the Skoda Pleasant company itself finished off the project. Funding was cut. In 2001, the remnants of the bankrupt factory were bought out by the Slovak company Sipox Holding. However, money for restoration could not be found, and in 2003, bankruptcy was officially declared. The last vehicle under the LIAZ brand was assembled from the remaining parts on September 1st, 2003. Most of the workshops were sold off. Today, there are offices and shopping centers there. The engine plant was bought by the company Tedum, which tried to produce updated Tedum Fox trucks. But by 2010, this production was also liquidated due to a lack of orders. That is how the inglorious history of a giant came to an end, a company that went from being a leader in Eastern Europe to a complete bankrupt that lost its own brand. And what do you think, our dear viewers? Could the history of LIA have turned out more successfully if the company had found a reputable investor in time, as Tatra did by partnering with DEF? Write your thoughts in the comments. And until the next interesting stories,